Good morning, good morning. What is up? We are watching When Evil Lurks today, and we're going to see how this goes because I am taxing both my internet and my computer pretty hard right now because I am rendering out two large videos and I am uploading a large video to Patreon. So we'll see how today runs. I'm testing the fate a little bit because Twitch has been giving me some fits this past week, so we'll see how this goes. But we're gonna watch When Evil Lurks today. This is a movie. If you want to watch this, it's on AMC Plus. I believe it's on Shudder, but it might just be AMC Plus. I'm not 100% sure, so don't hold me to that. But I believe it's on Shudder too. If you have those, I would definitely recommend AMC Plus. It's one of my favorite of the streaming platforms. I like it. It's probably my second one I watch the most underneath Max. So. Not sponsored, I just like it, alright? But anyway, we're watching When Evil Lurks because I want to see what this whole thing is about. I'm going to send out a text. Anyway. So, yeah, I want to see what this movie's all about. I've heard great things about this movie. I did watch like 15 minutes of it, but me and my wife started it, and we just... One, I don't think we were really in the mood for a horror movie or just really a movie in general. And we really didn't have time to watch it. So before we got too far into it, we decided to bounce. And then my wife was like, yeah, I'm not really that interested in what we saw. So I'm watching on my own, and we'll see how it is. I'm excited to check this one out. I like a good horror movie if it's actually good. We'll see. But I've heard good things about this. I've heard really good things about this. If you want to watch this unedited in its full raw form of a watch-along, you can subscribe to my Patreon. This will be uploaded on my Patreon. I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. If you want to support the channel, you can become a member, join Patreon. There's all kinds of different things you can do to support the channel. All those links will be in the description. Without further ado, let's get this bad boy started. In 3, 2, 1, go. IFC, I feel like, is a logo I don't see very often anymore. Okay, it is Shudder, because there's a big Shudder logo. Just as a tip, Shudder is cool. Don't get me wrong, I like Shudder. I was very happy with it until I found out the entire Shudder library is on AMC Plus. And AMC Plus was like $1 more, and you get all the AMC stuff on top of it. But I did really like Shudder when I had it. Shudder's put out some really cool stuff. Definitely recommend Deadstream was really good. A Spoonful of Sugar I really enjoyed a lot. I think that movie is super underrated. Nobody talks about it. So there's some cool stuff you can find on Shudder for sure. They're doing some interesting things. There's a lot of stuff that's not super good too, but you know, you can come across some interesting things. They're putting out things that seem interesting at least. If I am correct, this is an Argentinian film. Just realized this opener is a oneer. This opening scene is a oneer. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that in Spanish. I was like thinking, I'm gonna pronounce the title in Spanish because the title opener cards in Spanish, and then I like started in my head. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna insult. Literally the second, I think it's the second largest language in the world, because that's what's gonna happen. I took 1 year of Spanish in high school. I had to. My school did this thing where it was like. You had to have one foreign language credit if you took any of the advanced English, which was funny enough the only advanced class I was in. Well, I guess history and science wasn't offered in advanced. You have basically advanced English and advanced math, but I was in advanced English, and they made you do a foreign language credit, and the only foreign language they offered was Spanish. I'm like, you can't offer like German or Japanese or... Preferably Japanese, considering, or Chinese, like a Mandarin or Cantonese class, considering how many Chinese and Japanese movies I watched. That would have been handy. I don't watch a lot of Spanish movies. Anytime though I speak even a lick of Spanish, I am like Peggy Hilling it. Uno, por favor. You know what I mean? I'll take the queso blanco. I like the dogs are like gnawing on the corpse, and they're like, quit that, and the dogs are like, no, let me eat this. Oh shoot, I'll have to edit that, I guess. Didn't mean there to be movie audio. We're 5 minutes in. That's not good. I mean, it'll be chopped around, and it should be lower than my audio, but yikes. Thanks for catching that. My wife just texted me and was like, hey, you can hear the movie on stream. I'm like, fuck. Those are some cute puppers. If something happened to these dogs, I swear I riot. I don't want to see this again. So, if you're not watching this, there's a character with some grossness. It's really gross, honestly. It's really well done makeup. It's very disturbing looking, and yeah, didn't want to see this again. But this isn't really the grossest part. The grossest part's coming up. The makeup's really well done. It kind of reminds me of something like from the House of the Dead, not the movie, the game, like Overkill. Kind of reminds me of like one of their zombies. It's not a zombie, but you get what I'm saying. If you've played House of the Dead Overkill, that is, which I recommend. If you're a fan of like grindhouse things, it's a lot of fun. On-rail shooters are fun, so big recommend. Have you reported this? Well, we tried to call TLC. So they believe it's a possession out of the gate, which is interesting. Because normally you play into the whole thing of being like, are they possessed? I don't know. And they're just like, no, this is a possession. This is like clearly either a thing that happens in this universe. That's interesting. So it's like, is it a thing that happens in this universe, these possessed bodies, or is it just something they believe in their culture? It's really interesting that they're just like, they're all in on this being a thing out of the gate, pretty much. Yeah, this is an interesting setup for a possession movie. So it's basically like, this is a thing that can happen in this universe, and they're like, people are aware of it. Yeah, it's really interesting for a side of possession story, is like being aware that possessions are a thing. Yeah, that's really interesting. I like the music here a lot. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize when I first watched this that they, like, the possession part, I guess it's because, like, we were kind of, like, not paying super close attention when we started it. But, like, yeah, I guess I didn't realize, like, the whole possession angle is, like, they believe it out of the gate. Like, that's really cool. The music had a really weird cut there. Like, I felt like it just cut out, like, mid, like, note. Almost like the music track accidentally got, like, muted there. And then it just picked back up. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, there's a weird segment where Ruiz gets out of the truck. Like, this sound like it literally sounds like in your timeline, like somebody accidentally cut that little chunk of music out. Because it just starts right back up, too. Like, it has, like, a slight fade in, yeah. But it kind of just starts back up. And it's really, I don't know. It's kind of jarring. This is the part I didn't want to rewatch, because this part is gross. Ugh. Huh. Okay, that's a cool little detail I just put together. They were saying earlier when they heard gunshots in the woods that it was a revolver. Well, the guy on the floor, they found revolver ammo, and they showed a revolver earlier, but I didn't piece it together because the way it showed the revolver, I was thinking like the boy was thinking about getting the revolver. Like the boy was getting the revolver to like stop Rez from blasting the possessed dude. But when they drop the body and they see the shells like fall or whatever, the one brother looks at the other. I'm assuming they're brothers. I'm pretty sure they are. Looks at the other brother like, oh shoot, like there's the revolver. I don't know, just nice little piece of detail, I guess. It's funny because like little things like that shouldn't always impress people. You know what I mean? Like little attentions to detail. But considering how lazy some movies can be, when you actually see that attention to detail, it's like, oh, that's nice. This green screen in the truck looks bad, though. I will say that. The green screen in the truck is really bad. I don't understand. Ugh, excuse me. I don't understand why you don't just drive for real. People talk and drive all the time. It wouldn't be that hard to just equip some cameras onto a car and drive. It's when they do scenes like this where the guy takes his eyes off the road forever. He is escaped. The one brother reminds me so much of Scoot McNairy. I think that's how you say his last name. The one with just the mustache and not the full beard. He reminds me of Scoot. I love that golden hour look. Looks so good. Also, the brother took one of the bullets they found on the ground. This is a really interesting premise just out of the gate. Just saying. What about that goat? Oh, it's like possessed, I guess. Huh. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Whoa. Okay. That was Jeezy Pete's. That was a wild scene. Yeah. Man. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of speechless from the last scene. That scene was intense. This is gonna be like a super short watch along cut because like I'm not saying like hardly anything because I'm just kind of absorbed into this. I wonder what camera this is shot on. I wonder if IMDb will tell me. So it looks great, but it doesn't look like a doesn't have that same look of like a Ari or anything. You know what I mean? No, it doesn't say. It's just shot in 239. That's all it says. Oh no, is the dog gonna turn evil? I don't like where this scene is going, man. I don't like where this scene is going, man. Oh shit. Yeah, this dog is gonna be evil. It's gonna be the next possessed one. I say no, it's fiction. Dogs are too pure. Evil can never survive within them. Right? Man, this is like one of those movies you forget to breathe because it's so intense. Do they keep coming to those kids and that dog? And I'm just waiting for that dog to like turn on the kids. Oh shit! Yep. Oh god. Oh my god. Dude. That is how you do an effective fucking jump scare. Holy shit. I'm like still kind of like my heart's pounding a little bit from that. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. They built that up so well. Like they built that up so perfectly that when that dog snaps, oh my god, it is so and it wasn't afraid to show you how gruesome it is either. Man, that was so well done. That might be one of the best genuine scares I've seen in a long time. I'm not even joking. That was so perfectly well done. Dude, this is fucking... I'm trying to figure out if this boy is possessed or on I don't know how to say it on the spectrum, I guess. The cops not hear that gunshot? Okay. We saw what happened when they shot the goat. The girl's back? Oh, I don't trust that. I don't trust that one bit. That bitch possessed. Yeah, that dad's like... that dad's like, I'm taking my boy and getting the fuck out of here. I don't blame him. I'd be out of there too. I'm assuming this kid's on the spectrum of some kind. Yeah, the dad's like, I'm getting my kids and getting the hell out of here. My ex and that daughter, that devil daughter, can stay here and rot. Yep. Oh, don't let anything happen to this old grandma. Oh, don't let anything happen to this old grandma. Man, the one with the mustache, I just keep thinking of Scoot McNairy every time I see him. Every time I see him, that's all I keep thinking of. If they did an American remake of this and they didn't cast Scoot for this role, I'd be pissed. Because I was like, he looks so much like him. At least I think so. This is cool because like, so everybody knows about these possessions and stuff like that, the possessed and the lore of like, you know, don't shoot with a gun and stuff like that. But it must be so uncommon that when it actually happens, they're like, oh, nah, that's not happening. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that can't be happening here. It's cool. It's really cool how they've built this. I like the fact that the characters have some sense of awareness to what's happening. You know what I mean? It adds a nice like complexity to the story instead of them just being like, we're trying to survive or we don't know what's happening. You know, it makes the characters seem more, not seem more, but it makes the characters interact with the situation in more intelligent ways that makes the story a little bit more compelling than just, you know, I don't know what's happening, so we're going to do this for the point of the plot. Yeah, I'm going to assume the one son's on the spectrum and he's not possessed. Oh, no. I think a bird just flew into a window here at the house. It was just in case. Len, come here. Just in case. Let's bring in the fur baby. Just make sure you're not getting into something, buddy. My guess, sound like a bird hitting the window. It happens all the time. Our windows are like super reflective. I don't know if there's like a tint on them or something, but yeah, like if you like go outside and like look at our windows, you basically just it's like a lake mirror effect. I don't know what's the deal with them, but birds fly into them all fucking time. Hopefully it didn't kill it. Hopefully it just kind of, knocked it for a loop. Could you imagine though the birds' minds when they're flying and they just hit the window, just be like, what? When they don't die, that is. Like, what was that? I have a question. They left their clothes and burned them to get new clothes, but they got new clothes within the same town. So, like, wouldn't those still be tainted if they're not supposed to bring anything from town? Or are they just not supposed to bring stuff from the house where they interacted with the possessed? Hi, baby. Hi, the puppy dog. Is caca how you say poop in Spanish? I just learned a new word that I'll remember forever. Lim? I don't know if you saw on camera him headbutting my arm trying to take a drink of coffee, but he does that all the time, and I'm waiting for me to spill like super. I mean, this is kind of colder now, but super hot coffee all over me one day. Because he's like, "Hey, you need to pet me. Quit doing your thing and pet me." Excuse me. This is kind of weird because the brother's like, I don't know if what he saw is real or my brother's imagination. And it's like, I thought it was like pretty clear, like what you saw, like irrefutable, So, it's like, why are you questioning now? Unless it's just one of those coping mechanisms where you're dealing with a situation that's so extreme you don't know how to like comprehend it. It sucks there's no trivia for this on IMDb. This could be an interesting one to have like a behind the scenes or something of. The grandma's got this teddy bear that's got a projector. They can hide in the shadows of the electricity. Ooh, what's this coming? Yeah, I know. I don't have like hardly any commentary for this one because I'm just like so absorbed into what's happening here. Ah. Well, good thing this old lady knows what's up. Explain why she lives without lights, I guess. Yeah, so the woman, I guess, husband used to run a church. They come across a possessed then. Just, that's weird. They talk about they cut power. They're saying they cut power to the city, but all the street lights are still on. So why is the one brother driving, flicking lights on and off, when the other one is just driving with lights on? I think they went opposite ways, too, though. Oh, maybe because they're getting closer to town or something. We found Sabrina and the kid. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. This movie really holds no punches, man. I mean, like, zero punches. I mean, that's some gnarly shit. Like, you really wouldn't see some of the things this movie does. You would not see a lot of other movies. Thought you weren't supposed to kill them. You know what I mean? I thought you weren't supposed to kill the evil thing. Keep that in mind, folks. Evil loves children, and children love evil. Makes sense. I don't want anything to happen to this grandma. They say grandma in Spanish, like abuela. Am I just butchering stuff here? Oh, it's that boy from the beginning. Oh boy, I don't trust him. Oh wait, no, that's the autistic boy. The possessed must have found their way to untangle the strings, if you will. I thought at first, just because of the shadows, it looked like the boy from the very beginning of the movie. Yeah, what do you use to fight these things? Yeah, schools are creepy at night. This is just proving my point. I feel like our two main characters, for the most part, are pretty competent. Oh yeah, there's just random children in this room. So just start blast. But no, I feel like our two main characters are like really like they have an idea what's going on. They're competent, but they're also sometimes making dumb decisions. Where it's like, why would you be doing that? School needs a new coat of paint. Walking. I know there's a lot of after school programs, but they're getting kind of ridiculous. It's like midnight and they're still here. They're hiding in at the stage, because it had the powdery fingerprints all over it. Kid's like, leave me alone, dude. Oh, yeah, I just don't want anything to happen to the grandma. That's all I want. I think it's a trap. Come out so willy-nilly. Was not expecting him to just mollywop this child. I'm just saying, you should have brought your stuff in with you just to be safe, just so you had it. You said not to run, right? And it cuts to him running to the truck. I like that girls like tell him to leave and stuff, and that guy looks back at her like, I will smack the shit out of you again. Don't even make me. Don't tempt me. How does this machine work? Do they have Pedro don't waste more time? It's like, you could be coming down here too. I'm just saying like you know, he should rationally just be listening to the experts and ignoring everybody else. Just saying. Yeah, okay, this is kind of frustrating because, like, I don't know why he didn't listen to her, you know? If he would have just listened to the expert of the situation, it would have been fine. But for some reason, he decided not to listen to her for whatever reason, for no good reason, you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's really frustrating because, like, why would he not listen to her? He's had, like, no reason not to listen to her at all. And just decides not to for no reason. That's really kind of frustrating. Demented whack-a-mole. Huh. I gotta see how the rest of the film ends. But that was pretty frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. That was a pretty frustrating thing. So there's the brother. I want a couple goats. I just started choking on my spit. I want a couple goats. I think it'd be nice to have a couple goats. I like goats. I think they're cute. Then we can get goat milk for whatever it's worth, I guess. The 4 marks won't disappear. You've been marked for life. You're cursed. You're cursed for the rest of your life. You've been marked. I don't know what I'm doing. So I was right. It was the boy. It was the boy at the beginning of the movie that killed the... remember when I said they showed the revolver and stuff? It was that guy. Oh, wait. So was that the boy at the beginning that killed the mom, or was that... No, it was him. No, it was the one son. This scene's gross. This scene's grossing me out. Ugh, pulled like a wad of hair out of a drain. this scene's gross. Oh no, you ate Grandmama. Grandma got ate by a demon. I don't think evil's lurking in this movie. I think evil's full on trotting around town. Here my strut do. Strut my way on over to you. You like my strut? I like it too. Strut my way on over to you. This is how the movie's gonna end. Ends on a dour note. I'm fine with that. They kind of brought it upon themselves by acting dumb. Alright. When evil lurks. Yeah, that was a movie, to say the least. Wow. Big stretch in here. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't feel like I said very much during this watch along because I was just absorbed into it. It did some things I really loved. I don't know. I feel like I need a minute. You know what I mean? I feel like I need a minute. So I can turn this down a little bit. So let's talk about, first off, this film really holds no punches. It is not afraid to show you some really graphic stuff while not presenting it in a way that's super exploitative. Now I will say some of the gross out scenes, especially the possessed at the beginning of the movie, definitely feels like it's kind of gross for gross sake. You know, when you look at the comparison to the rest of the film and how a lot of the other possessed and stuff looks, that big pussy vestule definitely feels like it's a little gross for gross sake. Like, they want to really kind of shock you at the beginning of the movie. And what is surprising is yes, it's gross, but it is not the most shocking thing in the movie. There are a couple instances that are like, my goodness. And, this film never... I think it was last year, maybe the year before, there's a movie called The Sadness that came out that was ultra violent. very grotesque in that sense. But this film feels explosive. It doesn't feel like that. The Sadness movie is almost at the level where it's an action movie, right? Like there's so much violence, so much mayhem that almost comes across as an action movie, and that can be said for a couple other, really exploitative movies that are kind of like this. This movie's violence is explosive because there's a good amount of downtime in between where you're spinning with the characters and you're learning the characters, you're kind of learning what's going on. The film does a really good job at presenting the information at the same pace as our main characters. So you're kind of learning what's happening as our characters are going along, which I think really makes the film very engrossed and very engaging. It allows you to get behind our main characters very easily and very quickly. And then you would have these real explosive moments of violence that is very hard hitting, that's very, very impactful. That scene with the dog attack is one of the best scares I have seen. What? Unreal Engine was credited in this? Huh, that's interesting. That dog scene is one of the best scares I've seen in a while. How you do a jump scare perfectly, honestly. It's honestly how you do a jump scare just perfectly, because it goes from being this, they build the scene so well of going between, the dog, showing the family and stuff, and it does it in a naturalistic way. But there's a moment where it kind of just shows the dog and the one kid, and you go, "Oh, that cut in is ominous, ominous, not wait, what? Ominous," because you're like, why would you cut to that? You know what I mean? That's like the first thing you think of is, why would you cut to that? And then it snaps, and that snap is like, the build up to the snap is so perfect, and then the actual snap itself is so lightning quick, so jarring, because it goes from a behind the scenes shot, like a over the shoulder shot of the dog and the girl, and the dog just like, it just in the middle of a scene. Any other scene, the scene is set up to be like the girl and the dog are listening to this argument between the parents, and then that dog just turns and snaps, and you're just like, oh shoot. And yeah, it kind of does the loud jump scare noise, but it doesn't do it artificially. So a lot of the time when those happen, it's artificially loud. Either they hugely spike the audio of what's happening in the scene, or it's a musical cue. In this one, it's literally just the dog jumping. And while the audio of the dog jumping is louder than the rest of the scene, it's not pushed to the point to where you go, that's cheap. It's done. It feels organic, and it's very, very effective. It's one of the best scares I've seen for a while. My heart was pounding, and not only does it go, ooh, loud noise, and then now the scene's over. It's not a false jump scare. It's a loud noise and the characters react. It is a loud noise presented by the dog mauling the child, and it takes a while for the parents to realize what's happening. So it's an elongated scene that you're just like, oh my god, please pay attention to this child that's getting mauled by this massive dog. Then it comes around to, the little girl comes back to the mom and is perfectly fine and unharmed, and you're like, fuck that. You know what I mean? So there's some good genuine scares here. I was pretty much from the get-go glued to the screen. You have the good opener, that's the oneer, that's building the mystery, and you're like, what is happening? And the whole like first part of the movie is just trying to figure out what's happening. And then you have like the mayhem at the beginning, and you're just like, man, I am in this. And I was in this for pretty much the entire movie until toward the end, that I'll talk about here in a second. I love the one brother finding the mom character. Like, the mom comes in, takes the kid. Nobody is safe in this movie. Nothing is safe. Everybody is disposable, and that creates a good amount of tension in a horror movie where you don't know what's going to happen. Normally, you see a child and you go, that's safe. You normally don't see the mother of that child eating that child's brains. You know what I mean? That's normally not a thing you see. And you're just like, fuck me. Like, it is crazy how graphic some of the movie can be. It is crazy to me because it's earned. It's earned horror where you're like, holy smokes. You know what I mean? It's you can see the horror in the film, and it doesn't shy away from it, and it earns it by building these characters, by building the tension, by building the fact that nobody is safe, by building this mayhem of uncertainty on screen that you're just like. So when these events happen, it's really powerful, it's really impactful, and it works really well at building that tension and building that horror. The part where the film kind of loses me is the end of the film. The Exorcist woman, normally those kind of characters are crutches. I feel like that's kind of the case here. It's a little bit of a crutch to explain what's happening. It's a little bit of the crutch to be like, yeah, we know how to take care of it. My problem is like that was fine. It wasn't my favorite aspect of what was being presented here in the film, but it wasn't the worst thing either. It's definitely a character of convenience. But the problem that I had though with it was when the one brother decides to ignore her, and it just decides to go, I'm going to listen to the kids and go get this axe. You know, it's irrational. And for the most part, the main characters are pretty rational. They're not unfiltered, but they are pretty rational through the entire thing. And so for them, for this one to make such an irrational decision to ignore the woman completely, even when she's like, you can't leave me alone, they're going to get me, and he's just like flat out ignores her. It's very frustrating, and it just leads to a frustrating scene where it's like, oh, come on, you know what I mean? It's like you kind of wish that character would just listen. And I get it, it's to set up a really dour ending, which I like the ending, the just leaving on the screen of the character basically screaming in pain is a good way to end it. But to get to that point, you could have went a different way that didn't jeopardize the character's competence, that didn't kind of undermine the character's motives and the character's operations, I guess. You could have done it without doing that, and you did that, and it definitely lessened the back end of the movie for me, because you had characters. One thing I said early in the film is like, you have characters that kind of understand what's happening. This whole being possessed thing is apparently a thing that happens in this universe, and things that, you know, people are aware of and kind of have a small idea of how it works. And that's cool. That's nice, because normally you have the, I don't know what's happening. I do, you know, are they possessed? Or are they not? What you have instead is people understand these are things that can happen, but it happens. It's almost unbelievable that can happen to you, I guess. You know what I mean? That this could be happening in your area, in your neck of the woods, and that's cool. But it leads to a bit of frustrating dialogue where the one brother's like, I don't know if it's actually what I saw or if it's my brother's imagination. It's like, no, you saw that. You helped move that. You're part of this party. This, you're adjacent to the crime. You know what I mean? You're a key witness to what's happening. So to be like, I don't know if it's my, that was kind of frustrating. And then, like I said, the brother, the main character, at the end of the movie, Pedro, just being like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore this woman for no reason, and then it's going to basically cause this crux to happen. It's like, oh, that's really frustrating. It's like, that's really, really frustrating. It's like, why? You went through this whole movie not being meticulous, you know, not being like, oh, I know exactly what's happening, and I'm going to move this chess piece every which way. I'm going to reduke this match. You know what I mean? But instead, you have this character who's like, I kind of know what's happening, and I'm making decisions, not completely irrationally, but I'm definitely leading with emotion, and it's pretty reasonable. And then you have just this ending piece that's completely unreasonable. That's like, I know, yeah, you're letting your emotions get the better of you, sure, but like, there's no rationality that would lead to like that scene actually happening, and it's frustrating because you could have just not done it. You know what I mean? There's different routes you could have took this story to not even get to this point and still come to the same conclusion that you had. That would have worked better, and they didn't do it, and instead they went with this way that, like I said, really kind of cheapens the ending and kind of undermines the character a bit, to where it's frustrating. You know, that was literally a scene when it happened. I was just like, really? And you watched it with me, right? It's just, yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's kind of disappointing. I liked a lot of it. I think cinematography is really good. I liked a lot of the choice of the lighting. Um, it has that nice heavy saturation look to it. But the camera, I like the way the camera moves and positions. There is a moment of green screen while driving that is super noticeable. That definitely doesn't look the best, but for the most part, the cinematography is really good. The visuals are really good. The gore effects are good. There are some that are, pretty easy to tell that it's digitally done. The scene with the axe to the face, for an example, while brutal and effective, there's a certain angle that you see it that you go, yeah, that's fake. That's done digitally. You know what I mean? That might be the Unreal Engine working, but for the most part, the visual effects are good. The makeup's good. The possessed character, while grotesque and gross, and maybe gross for the sake of being gross, the makeup looks great. It does. It looks good. It's very effective at what it does. But yeah, I think that's my biggest complaint, hubbub about the movie is just at the end some of the irrational character decisions. Overall, though, I think I'm gonna give this movie. I don't know. Trying to debate. I'm gonna say a 7.5 out of 10. It was really pushing 8 for me. It was really at like an 8, could be an 8.5. But that back end, I think, just drops it a little bit. I think I'm gonna go 7.5. It could go up to an 8. It could go down to 7, but I think I'm gonna be at a 7.5 right now. I will definitely be watching it again before I make my best of 2023 list. That's for sure. I definitely will be watching it again before then. But for right now, I think I'm at a 7.5 out of 10. I did really like it. I just, yeah, that ending, that just irrationality of that character really took a lot of the steam out of me with this movie. Like, I spent the entire movie up to that point, like, really absorbed into it and on the edge of my seat, and then he does that, and I'm just like, oh, come on. It's like, oh. Yeah, I was like at an 8, 8.5, and then that scene happened. But I think I'm going to stick at a 7.5. Maybe it won't bother me as much on a second watch. Maybe it'll bother me even more. I don't know. But I will definitely be watching this again. If Shudder gives this one a physical release, I will be picking it up. I would actually like to see if they have some kind of behind the scenes with it. But I think it's good. If you have AMC Plus or Shudder, it's on there when Evil Lurks. It's an hour and 39 minutes from Argentina. And yeah, I like it. The poster's awesome. The woman on the ground with the axe in her face. Really good poster. I like it a lot. I can see a lot of the hype. I can see why a lot of people really dug this movie. Why critics are kind of raving the movie. It's a good, effective horror movie that really does the tension and the horror really well. Honestly, like, it just does it really well. It understands how to build that tension without being gimmicky and annoying. It's just, I wish they would have done that ending scene a bit differently. But overall, really enjoyed it. Really glad I finally got to watch it, and I will definitely be checking out something else. Demian Rugna. I don't know how to say his name. I definitely would be wanting to check out some of. Oh, he did that movie Terrified from 2017. I've not seen that, but I've heard good things about it. Huh. I'll have to check that out. But I'm going to bounce for today. Thank you all for hanging out. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to watch any of these live, head over to Twitch. Be sure to turn on the bell notification to be notified anytime I go live. You can follow me on Twitch, subscribe to me on Twitch, whatever you want to do. That's where I do all my live streams. If you want to watch these unedited, you can consider becoming a Patreon. Patreon is a great way to support the channel, but also you get bonus content as well from Patreon, and you'll get your name at the end of the screen that you'll see here in a second. And also, you can become a member. Becoming a member does the same thing, except for you don't get the Patreon bonus content. Any bedoozle, I'm going to bounce for today, and I'll hopefully see y'all later. And bye, everybody.